Today I'm going to show you how to play some really beginner friendly blues riffs, from essential blues classics to modern blues gems, including one song that the artist absolutely hated but is one of my favourite riffs and favourite songs of all time. So let's get started. Now first up, we've got probably one of the most famous blues riffs of all time. Even if you've not heard of the song, I guarantee that you have heard this riff in some form before. And the song is Mannish Boy by Muddy Waters. And it's just that riff throughout basically all of the song, apart from a little change at the ending. So you've learned 99% of the song just by learning that riff alone. Now, there's a bit of history to this riff that I find really interesting, and that's that it developed over the course of a bunch of different songs. So it started off with Muddy Waters' song Hoochie Coochie Man. Then that riff was picked up by Bo Diddley in I'm a Man. And finally, it evolves into that full da-na-na-na-na pattern with Mannish Boy. I just think it's really interesting that it's been passed back and forth and sort of refined over time to that really iconic sound that we know now. And this riff's been used in a bunch of other places as well. Bad to the Bone by George Thorogood and the Destroyers, Trouble by Elvis Presley, and also the iPhone's piano riff alarm. Next up, we've got Born Under a Bad Sign by Albert King. And this is another blues standard that's really worth knowing about. And by a standard, I just mean something that's really popular, it's maybe been adapted by a few people, and is just seen as a bit of a staple of its genre. Now, if you like this riff, the song itself isn't that hard to learn. There's a few changes throughout and a couple of licks thrown in, but it's a really fun one to just put on and jam to, especially if you're just getting started with improvising solos around the blues pentatonic, that kind of thing. Personally, my favourite version of this is a live version that Albert King did with Stevie Ray Vaughan for some TV show in the 80s. And I'll link it in the description below. It's just really good. Stevie Ray Vaughan's playing this riff but an octave higher throughout, and there's plenty of licks thrown in. It's really good one to watch. Now onto a really fun riff to play, really cool and really easy, and it's Going Down by Freddie King. What's great about this is not only is it so easy and it just really chugs along, but it's a really great introduction to the 12-bar blues playing style. And what this is, I mean, I'll probably cover it in another video at some point, but it's just a pattern of chords that's typically used for blues songs, and this follows it perfectly. Now, what I like doing with this, and you'll probably see this in more modern versions of the song, like if you look at a version by Joe Bonamassa, he plays it live sometimes, is just adding in some power chords to really beef it up and make it really meaty. Now, if you don't know about power chords, I've got an easy to follow video that explains everything you need to know up there. But they're really simple and straightforward and will make any part you play sound sort of thicker and bigger. Now, interestingly, even though this is attributed to Freddie King, a lot of people will refer to it as Freddie King's Going Down. The song was actually written by a guy called Don Nix and first recorded by a band called Moloch. And if you take a listen to their version, it's almost completely different to what we know as Going Down today. And even though it's the first one, Freddie King's version is the one that stayed and has been adapted by a couple of people over the years. Now we've got another iconic riff, and that's Spoonful, but the electric version by Howlin' Wolf. Now apparently Howlin' Wolf absolutely hated it, hated the whole album. It's actually written on the front of the album itself. But I think it's amazing. I really love it. It's one of my favourite riffs and one of my favourite songs actually. I just think it's really cool. It's really fun, really easy to learn, and it's a great one to just jam to, especially if you're just learning some licks or just practicing soloing. Finally, I'll finish off with a more modern song, and it's a song that I think is a modern blues classic and really doesn't get enough recognition by people, and that's Numb by Gary Clark Jr. It feels like such an obvious instant classic riff that I'm really surprised that I don't hear more about it. It's just so thick and really dark, but really bluesy as well. So what we're doing is we're dropping our low E string down to D to get that deeper sound. And that riff goes on throughout most of the song. Again, it's another one that's really riff heavy, so you can just pick up this riff and play through most of the song. And it especially sounds really good if you add some fuzz to it as well. Really, really dark and grainy and gritty. And that's it. If you like this video, give it a like to help it reach more people, and let me know how you got on in the comments below, and subscribe for more guitar tips. Thanks.